1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters go.
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing right there on that intro song, and if you want to get that, it is available only purchased directly from me on a 10-song EP that you can get on a digital download. If you're interested, hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com, Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle me $20, and I'm going to get it to you ASAP. If you want to check out more of my music, go to my YouTube playlist, scroll down to gas stations, or just type in 16 to life gas stations, and you will find more of my music there. Man, let's hop right up into this video, man. So this is a topic that I have got asked about often since I've been doing my YouTube channel, man. And to keep it 100 with y'all, this is a topic that I intentionally stayed away from. Can Mexicans snitch on blacks? And the reason that I chose to stay away from it, because no matter how I answer, I am definitely going to have people mad and upset with me, right? But like I said, this is a topic that seems to be on the minds of a lot of people, right? And people have asked me often, like I said, in the comments and stuff. And sometimes I'll bump into people who just happen to have seen me on YouTube, and they will ask me this question, right? And so I'm going to answer the question for you guys. And I got a story. And keep in mind, this is just my experience, right? I'm going to take you guys back to Ironwood, B-Yard. I want to say maybe 1999, 2000, somewhere around there right now. At the time, I'm in the cell with my homeboy Biscuit. For those of you guys that may have been keeping up with my page and my channel, I've spoken to my homeboy Biscuit many a times. Me and my homeboy Biscuit grew up 2 doors away from each other on the streets, right, from about the age of 6. Then later on he moved or whatever. But anyway, so me and Biscuit have been knowing each other a long time. He actually broke my arm playing baseball when we was 6. He's a couple years older than me. Anyway, Biscuit is a genius on the keyboards, the bass guitar, the drums. Biscuit's thing is music. Biscuit has been playing music for a long time, ever since I can remember. Even when we was on the street, he had a guitar, you know. And so one of Biscuit's loves was to go in the chapel, and they had a keyboard in the chapel, and he would play music in there. It didn't matter to Biscuit whether he was playing gospel, R&B, rap, you know. He does all that, man. I mean, Biscuit is really a genius with the music, right? And so in the chapel, when you enter the chapel was part of a building, right? And you would enter this door that led to the chapel, and you would have to walk down a hallway, maybe 15, 25 feet. Then you would walk into this bigger room. You know, they had some chairs set up. They had, they had a keyboard up in there and stuff. And it was a big old giant room. And that's where they would have church. Now, of course, you know, in prison, you have different denominations. Sometimes you have you'd have Baptist, you would have the Catholic, you would have the Irish or whatever. And so different days were for different denominations to go in there and do their thing, you know, for the Muslims and you know, all the different denominations and religions that are practiced in prison, right? And so now some days we would be in that big giant room where the keyboard was set up. Now on other days when the the chapel was designated for other groups, we would take the keyboard and we would go into a smaller room. Right when you come in the door, they're set 2 smaller rooms off to the side, and we would go in there, set the keyboard up in there. We would rap and do our thing like that up in there. Right now, on this particular day, we are in the chapel, but we are in a smaller room. Because the main room was designated for another group or whoever. Now, it's really nobody in the chapel. It's me, Biscuit, and maybe somebody else that's up in the room rapping with us. But it's really nobody in the chapel except for the priest or the chaplain or whoever happened to be in there that day, and a Mexican dude who was from Southern California, but he was a Christian. He was not a Southsider, meaning he was not a gang member, but he resided in Southern California. So now as we're in there rapping or whatever, he comes and he opens up the door and he says, hey man, it's not you guys' day to be up in here. What are you guys doing up in here? Or something like that, right? Now my homie Biscuit at times can be extremely sarcastic or whatever. And so Biscuit pretty much told him, hey man, why are you worried about why we up in here? We not in the big room. We off to the side. We minding our business. Pretty much, man, mind your business and whatever, right? So the dude leaves. Maybe about 10 or 15 minutes later, the chaplain, who was like a free staff, what we call free staff is a person who works at the prison. He's from the streets and he doesn't work under the guise of or the capacity of like a law, like a correctional officer, law enforcement or whatever. He's not a guard, he's not a lieutenant, he's not a sergeant, he's not a counselor, anything like that. So a free staff can be, like a cook, the dude who runs the paint crew, the dude who is in charge of electronics or whatever. So, that's pretty much what a free staff is. And so the chaplain comes up in there and he says, hey, it's not you guys' day to be up in here, so on and so forth or whatever. And basically told us to get up out of there. So now as we leave the chapel, the door, when you open the door, is right in front of the jogging track or the walking track, the exercise track. We walk right across the track and we're posted up right there. We're talking about it. Biscuit, my homie Biscuit, is hot. He is fuming. He is steaming because that, like I said, going up in there playing the keyboard and all that type of stuff, that is his love. He loves to do that, right? And he was in many other prisons and in charge of the music program, right? And so Biscuit feels that this dude who was up in the Southern dude who was up in the chapel, who was like a clerk or whatever, clerk / janitor, he cleans up in there, puts things together, stacks the chairs, bring the chairs out, puts the Bibles in place, all that type of stuff. Biscuit feels that he went and said something to the chaplain, which in turn made the chaplain dude come in there and say something to us, right? We didn't hear him say it, but Biscuit is pretty much deducing that because there's pretty much nobody else up in there, right? So as we're sitting there talking and Biscuit is hot and heated, all of a sudden he happens to see this one Southerner, a Southsider, right? He's walking the track. Now this dude, I don't know his name, right? But I want to say he was from San Diego. And it's crazy because I can still see his face clear as day, right? And this dude, he had some juice on that yard, right? He always had on a baseball, like a gray baseball hat. And I believe he was from San Diego. And he appeared to be in his mid 20s to late 20s. He wasn't that old, maybe about 5'7", kind of like maybe about 165 pounds, maybe 160. But anyway, the dudes who, if you happen to be in Ironwood on B Yard, man, around 99 to 2000, 2001, people have to remember this dude. He had a little juice, like I say. So anyway, Biscuit flags him over, man. Biscuit flags him over and he runs down what is just happening. And Biscuit is basically saying, hey, man, I believe that dude went and told. So the dude that Biscuit was talking to, the dude with the hat that Biscuit had pulled over. So he asked Biscuit, is the dude a Southerner? Biscuit said, no, man, the dude is a Christian. And the dude that Biscuit had pulled over, he said, no, man, but what I'm saying is he a Mexican from Southern California? And Biscuit said, yeah, he's a Christian. So dude said, hold on, man, wait up. Now the dude with the hat who Biscuit had pulled over, he marched right up in the chapel. He went up in there. He was gone for about 2-3 minutes. Then he popped back out. He pops back out with the Christian dude, with the clerk dude. He said, hey, man, come over here, man. Come over here. So He tells the Christian dude, the clerk dude, to come over. He says, hey, man, listen, I'm going to tell you one time and one time only, man. Stay out of these dudes' business. Whatever these dudes is up in the chapel is doing is their business. Don't worry about what they got going on, so on and so forth. He said, now apologize to him. The Christian dude said, oh, my bad, or whatever. And then the Southerner with the hat on told the dude basically in so many words, hey, man, listen, this better not happen again. If it happens again, you already know what time it is. The Christian dude apologized again, then he went back up in the chapel. Now, keep in mind, we didn't hear the clerk, the Mexican dude, go tell the free staff or the chaplain, hey, man, you got those dudes up in there or whatever. But, of course, we assumed it, especially Biscuit, because we were the only ones pretty much up in there. And so when the dude went up in there, he checked the dude about all that, but pretty much, too, about just being in our business. If you see us up in the chapel, don't worry about what we're doing because we're black. And no matter what we got going on up in there, it's none of your business, right? And so just keep it in 100, right? I feel like if Mexicans were allowed to tell on blacks, if they were allowed and they all felt like that, the one dude with the hat that Biscuit pulled over, he wouldn't have went up in there and said anything to that dude. He damn sure wouldn't have brought that dude back outside and made that dude apologize, right? So, those are just my experiences, right? And like I said, of course, you will have some dudes saying, hey, chill, you taking the Mexican side and you a sellout and so on and so forth, right? But a lot of times, man, you may hear about, or we may hear about Mexicans having hatred for blacks out here in the California prison system, but you have just as many blacks who have the same amount of hatred for the Mexicans, right? It's a two-way street. It's not just one-sided. And my point of bringing that out is there are some blacks who feel like, okay, chill, I view these dudes as enemies due to what has happened on the street, what possibly may have transpired in the county jail, or what possibly may have transpired in prison. And I'm talking about, fights, riots, stabbings, so on and so forth, right? And so when some individuals view somebody else as an enemy and you look like them, and I'm talking about blacks in this specific moment right here, they will want you to have the same type of feeling, animosity, and hatred that they hold for those individuals, right? And if you don't view them like they view them, you a sellout, you so on and so forth. My thing is this, right? My experience is that I have not seen that, right? And so I'm not gonna make up a lie, because if I say it and I haven't seen it, then it's a lie, right? So I'm not just to make up a lie just to please people who may have negative feelings toward other people for whatever reason. Now, let's keep it 100. You do, for whatever reason, have many blacks who feel that way, right? I have been told that by several other individuals that I have asked, right? Because I've asked many other people's opinion, many other black dudes' opinion who have done a lot of time, how they feel on that situation. And I get different answers, right? Where they have got those feelings and beliefs from, I do not know. Some people has even went so far to say and leave comments on my comment section that, hey, chill, I have been told by Southerners who were no longer in good standings that is something that they were allowed to do. But now keep in mind, they are being told by these individuals who are no longer in good standing. So I don't know if that played a part in them saying that or not, right? I am saying that in my experience, I have never seen that. Now, I have also asked the individuals, the black dudes who I talked to, who told me that they believe that. I have asked them, well, have you ever seen on the yard a black dude have paperwork that a Mexican on the yard told on him, present that paperwork to the Mexicans, and the Mexicans say that, no, we're not going to do anything, it's cool. And everybody that I have asked, they have all told me no, that they have not seen that. So I have not seen that, and I have not heard of that happening, right? So those are just my experiences, right? I think sometimes you have a lot of individuals get confused because, listen, there is not no race that goes to prison, regardless of if we're talking about whites, blacks, Mexicans, Asians, so on and so forth. There is no race who hasn't told on members of their own race, and there is no race who hasn't told on members of gangs from other races, right? So Everybody has snitched on everybody. You have had Mexicans who have snitched on blacks. You have had blacks who have snitched on Mexicans. But I think the main question that we're talking about here is not do they do it, are they allowed to do it, right? And keeping it 100, in my experience, I have not seen anything that makes me believe Mexicans are allowed to snitch on blacks, right? And I know some people are going to be upset about that, but that's my experience, right? Now, one other thing that I want to address that I seen in the comments, you have some people who ask, well, man, I don't understand, man. It's okay to shoot. It's okay to harm your enemies. It's okay to try to kill them, take their life, and try to blow their head off. But it's not okay to snitch on them. I don't understand that. And the thing about that is, if you are in a gang, you are out there on the streets, you are voluntarily committing crimes, you keep it on the street. You don't involve the police, right? I think many people may not. I was going to say I think many people know, but many people may not know. This happens often. And what I'm talking about is this. You may have two rival gangs, right? Let's just use two rival black gangs. These dudes have been feuding, shooting, and killing and harming each other for 20 years. You have a dude from gang A has caught a murder on a dude from gang B, both of these being black gangs. The dude from gang A will learn that somebody from gang B, who is a long life rival and enemy, is telling on him. He still will get word to people from gang B and say, hey man, yo homie, Little Wizard is telling, man. The dudes from gang B who have been in a lifelong feud with dudes from gang A will still try to get a hold of their homie and stop him from coming to court, regardless of the fact that they have been shooting and killing people from gang A for 15, 20 years. And reason being is because being in a gang, you keep the stuff in the streets. You do not bring stuff to court. You do not involve the court. So even though we are feuding with these dudes, real gang members are going to try to stop their homie from coming to court and testifying. Anyway, man, it is what it is. Like I said, some people are going to get upset, but I always got to keep it real. Y'all already know what it is. Your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.